Hey everybody, how you doing? And good morning to you, and welcome to Transformation Tuesdays morning devotion. My name is Hiram, and I am the host of the Focus on Greatness podcast. And I'm thankful and grateful for you being on and being with me this morning. Hey sis, how you doing? Do me a favor. Today we're going to deal with this topic of conversation. God is with you. Man, I think that this is something that we all need to hear. And before we dive into this conversation, very quickly, do me a favor and share this with someone because I want to encourage you this morning. This is actually coming from really a conversation. I thought that I was going to talk about something totally different this morning, but through a conversation that me and my wife was having this morning, I believe that this is something that we all need to be able to understand and to hear. One of the things that I think that we have, that God wants us to be able to know, yesterday through the podcast on last night, there was a statement that my guest Kendrick Spells made, and I want to say thank him on this live this morning. And one of the things that he had made was he was talking about the mindset that we have as a Western society, and he was talking to a gentleman that is from overseas on the east side of the life. And one of the things that he was talking about is this dynamic of how we look at and we see suffering. And he was talking to this gentleman about the prodigal son. And he made this statement, and he said, when he was sharing with talking about the prodigal son, he said one of the things that stood out to him, this guy, one of the things that stood out to him was that God brought him out of famine. When I read this storyline, I've never thought about that context, but this was something that he looked at, and he said that was something that stuck out to him, that God brought the prodigal son out of famine. In his love for him, he brought him out of famine. And his mindset was, the reason why it touched him so much was because of the fact that at the end of the day, their theory and mindset is that their prayer to God is that God would just be with them while they're in the famine, that God would just be walking with them while they're in the famine. And it helps me this morning to this concept of conversation, to help me to understand that there are moments where we are going through things, there's different trials and situations, and personally there's situations that's happening all over the world, and it's conflict on conflict, and there's things, do it this way, do it that way, and there's so many different choices of things that are happening around us. But the reality of it is in that statement, what it helps me to understand is no matter if I'm in it, God is with me. No matter if he's bringing me out of it, God is with me. No matter if I'm like Paul, where Paul makes this statement and says that he had a thorn in his flesh and he wanted God to remove it. But God says, my grace is sufficient for thee. What is he really saying? I want you to know that I'm with you. Where we can look at these in the Old Testament, it uses this depiction of these three young brothers that's going through some form of conflict where now they're being put in a fiery furnace. I love this because at the end of the day, they were in the problem, but God was with them. So one of the things that even at the end of the day, I was sharing even this with my wife this morning, is when it boils down to it, even when my choices that I believe that God is telling me to do, or I feel comfortable in understanding and knowing that God is with me in this, even if sometimes that affects my relationships with my family members, or if my family do not agree with what I'm doing, he says this statement. Let me go this far to help us. Even if your father and your mother forsake you, I am with you. So this morning, I want to encourage you that no matter what happens, no matter what's going on, no matter how hard it might be, no matter if you are coming out of something, no matter if you haven't went through it yet, no matter what it is, if we can say this with a shadow of understanding, with no doubt in our hearts or in our mindset, to understand that God is with you. He's with you. He's with you through your trial. He's with you even through your day, even through the decisions that you would have to make on today. Understand and know, this is my encouraging word this morning through this devotion time together, that God is with you. No matter what's happening, even if it looks confusing, even if it looks stressful, even if you feel like you're all alone, understand and know that God is with you. I love you all, family. Thank you for being on with me this morning and spending some time with me in Transformation Tuesday morning devotion. And I love you all. Understand, walk in this purpose and understanding that God is with you. Love you all. Be blessed. Have a great and prosperous day on today. Bye-bye.